Tell us are the telltale signs of pelvic organ prolapse. How do you know if this is happening or has already happened to you? And what daily body functions are affected the most immediately when you do have pelvic organ prolapse?
Got it. Okay, so I'm going to use my little props here. So these are our internal organs. Here's our bladder, here's our uterus, here's a vagina, here's our rectum. And you can see the three openings down below. And the pelvic floor is the sling of muscles. If I show the pelvis, there's three different layers of muscles that do a lot of things, one of which supports the organ. So in a bladder prolapse, for instance, the bladder would start to bulge into the front wall of the vagina. In a rectocele, the rectum bulges into the back wall of the vagina. And in the case of a uterine prolapse, the uterus cervix is descending from the top down. And statistics tell us it's about 50% of women who have given birth. Early stage prolapse is often asymptomatic. So unless you are getting checked by somebody regularly, you may not know that you have it until it becomes a little bit more advanced. Symptoms, it could be back pain, as simple as back pain. And so many people have back pain, but don't necessarily tie it to the pelvic floor. And one Canadian researcher found that 95% of women with low back pain have some form of pelvic floor dysfunction. So the two are very closely tied. But common symptoms of prolapse would be feeling like you have something inside your vagina. So you feel like maybe if you're a tampon wearer or a menstrual cup, that it's not sitting quite right. You feel like there's something there. Sometimes people feel like they feel like they're sitting on an egg. You may have difficulty with insertion. So if you are still menstruating, putting in a tampon or putting in a finger toy penis feels like something is in the way. Difficulty emptying the bladder, maybe difficulty even starting the flow, difficulty emptying the bowels, constipation, feeling like you don't quite get a successful, poophoria, I call it, where you have like, it's a fantastic feeling of evacuation, you feel empty. It's difficult to feel that when you have an organ prolapse of different types. Um, Kind of like a sense of heaviness or pressure, especially as the day goes on. So you might wake up in the morning and feel great, but then as the day goes on, you feel like you want to sit down, lie down, even apply counter pressure against your perineum because you feel like there's this heaviness that's happening. A lot of people also feel urgency, like they feel like they need to go to the bathroom very frequently and also very strongly. So those would be the most common symptoms associated with prolapse. And just to touch on the first part in terms of building a resilient pelvic floor, the pelvic floor muscles, as I said, it's a group of muscles, three layers: sexual response, managing those openings, so our continence, organ support. It's the foundation of our core, pelvic and spinal stability and control. So it's really, it is literally our center, and how we transfer load and manage movement is very dependent on the function of our pelvic floor. And I don't remember if it was Ardell or Sarah who mentioned there's a lot of people who stop exercising because of symptoms related to GSM, but even if it wasn't necessarily menopause associated, so many women stop exercising because they're afraid of leaking, they're afraid they're not going to get to the bathroom in time, that there isn't a bathroom nearby, that they think they're going to make their prolapse worse. And they maybe even have been told not to do that because it will make things worse. And then when we think about the risks of osteoporosis and the risks of heart disease, especially that go up post-menopause, we now have an even further increased risk because of the pelvic floor. So if we can get that optimized, then it allows us to do so many more other things.
Really important. Don't stop exercising. It's actually going to make it worse if you already have it and prolong